The courtroom drama surrounding Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is nearing its final act. With the Judge James Omotosho set to deliver the verdict on November 20, 2025, there's been a surge of anticipation across the nation, particularly in the southeast, where Kanu's supporters are anxiously awaiting a judgment that could shape the future of the Biafra movement. Kanu, who has been in detention for years now, faces terrorism-related charges, and this case is one that has garnered attention not just within Nigeria, but globally. His supporters believe that Kanu is a voice for the marginalized Southeast, fighting for self-determination and the recognition of the region's unique identity. On the other side, the Nigerian government maintains that Kanu's actions advocating for the secession of the Southeast amount to a threat to national unity, and this is why they've been pursuing charges against him with such vigor. The trial's outcome could have profound implications for the future of not just Kanu, but also for Biafra's aspirations. The stakes are high, and people are watching closely, especially after a tense legal process where Kanu has already refused to present a defense, citing constitutional and procedural violations. The judge, in response, declared that Kanu had waived his right to present a defense, a decision that has sparked a wave of reactions across the country. The focus is on what Kanu's verdict will mean for the broader political landscape. Will his conviction strengthen the federal government's stance on separatist movements, or will an acquittal or legal relief embolden calls for Biafran independence? There are several layers to this situation, and each turn could alter the direction of the debate about Nigeria's future. Kanu's defense has argued that the charges against him are based on a law that has since been repealed, raising the crucial question of whether the court can proceed with a case rooted in outdated legislation. Kanu's case isn't just a legal matter, it's deeply political. It touches on questions of national identity, regional power, and the rights of different ethnic groups within Nigeria. The Southeast, which has long felt sidelined by the central government, sees Kanu as someone who represents the frustrations, the sense of injustice, and their aspirations for a more equitable future. Whether or not Kanu gets a favorable judgment, the underlying issues, the economic neglect, political exclusion, and the struggle for recognition are unlikely to disappear. As the day for the verdict approaches, many wonder what will happen in the aftermath. If Kanu is convicted, it could set a powerful precedent, signaling to separatist movements across the country that the Nigerian state will not tolerate secessionist activities. But if the verdict is favorable to Kanu, it could ignite further separatist sentiment in the Southeast, with the potential to spark unrest and perhaps a new wave of activism. If Kanu is found guilty, expect to see protests, demonstrations, and perhaps even civil unrest. His supporters are passionate, and they view his imprisonment as a symbol of the wider struggle for Biafra's freedom. But if the court grants him some form of relief, it could create a ripple effect, not just for IPOB, but for all separatist movements within Nigeria. It would signal that the courts are open to challenges to the status quo, which might motivate others to pursue similar paths. The trial of Nnamdi Kanu also raises critical questions about the nature of Nigerian democracy. Are the courts truly independent, or are they simply extensions of political power? Can a trial be fair if it's seen as politically charged? These are questions that will echo beyond this case, affecting the way the Nigerian judiciary is perceived in the years to come. As the verdict looms, Nigerians are also asking themselves what kind of country they want to be. Will they embrace the unity that the federal government envisions, or will they accept the reality that parts of the country, especially in the Southeast, feel so alienated that they are willing to risk everything for a future outside the Nigerian Union? It's a question that the people of Nigeria must grapple with, as Kanu's trial represents more than just one man's legal battle. It represents the struggle for power, identity, and the future of the country. Nnamdi Kanu's trial and the verdict that's coming soon are a reflection of the broader issues Nigeria faces: ethnic divisions, regional disparities, and the question of who controls the country's future.
The situation is tense and the potential outcomes are many. Some fear that a conviction could lead to more violence and deeper divisions,
while others hope that a favorable verdict could lead to peace, negotiations, and greater autonomy for the Southeast. The world is watching, and the impact of this trial could stretch far beyond Nigeria. It could influence how other nations with separatist movements handle similar cases. The implications are huge, and people are eager to see if Kanu's legal battle will be the catalyst for change or whether it will simply mark the beginning of a longer and more difficult fight for the recognition of Biafra. As we look at the bigger picture of this trial and the potential verdict, we have to consider the long-term implications, not just for Kanu, but for the broader socio-political landscape of Nigeria. It's not just about one court case or one individual.
This trial represents years of tension that have been building in the Southeast region. Many believe that Kanu's actions are a direct response to the feeling of marginalization by the central government. This goes back decades, long before Kanu took the stage as a prominent leader. The Southeast, often seen as the economic engine of the country, feels that it has been left behind, especially in terms of infrastructure development, political representation, and access to national resources. What this trial may do is bring these issues into sharper focus. For many, Kanu is not just a leader of IPOB. He's become the face of a wider movement that demands justice, better governance, and a fairer distribution of resources. That's why so many people in the Southeast feel connected to his cause,
even if they don't necessarily agree with all of his methods. For them, this is about more than just one person. It's about the future of the region and the recognition of its rightful place within Nigeria. The verdict will certainly impact Kanu's legacy, but it will also shape how history views the Biafra movement. If the court delivers a harsh verdict, it might be seen as the government doubling down on its stance of rejecting any form of secession. But if the verdict is lenient or even favorable to Kanu, it could mark the beginning of a shift in how the Southeast and Nigeria's federal government interact. It could open doors for new dialogue, new negotiations, and perhaps a new framework for addressing regional grievances. Now, think about the international community's reaction. The world is paying attention.
And Nigeria's handling of this case could either strengthen its global image or damage it further. International bodies, human rights organizations, and even foreign governments will be watching closely, especially considering Kanu's dual citizenship and the international dimensions of his activism. If Nigeria is seen as persecuting a man simply for advocating his people's rights, it could have diplomatic repercussions. For Nigerians themselves, especially those in the Southeast, there's a real sense of unease about how the country is evolving. The tension between federal authority and regional autonomy is not going anywhere. If anything, it's getting worse. The IPOB movement has gained significant traction over the years, particularly among younger generations who feel that the Nigerian state has failed them. This verdict, whatever it may be, will likely deepen the divide between those who feel that Nigeria should remain a united federation and those who believe that independence or more autonomy is the only way forward. It's a delicate balancing act for the Nigerian government. On one hand, they want to show strength and unity, projecting a message that no part of Nigeria can unilaterally break away. On the other hand, they have to address the underlying issues that fuel this separatist sentiment. If they simply ignore the reasons behind the call for Biafra, economic inequality, political marginalization, and lack of opportunities, they risk further alienating not just the Southeast, but also other regions that feel sidelined by the government. As the November 20th judgment date draws nearer, expect to see a rise in activity, both online and offline, related to this case. Supporters of Kanu, especially in the Southeast, will be organizing rallies, protests, and gatherings. They'll be hoping for a favorable verdict. On the flip side, the Nigerian government will be preparing its response, likely reinforcing its position that the country's unity is non-negotiable. As for IPOB, their next steps will depend largely on the outcome of the trial. If Kanu is convicted, there's a strong possibility that they will escalate their resistance, using the verdict as a rallying cry for even greater political mobilization. What's important here is that Nigerians, regardless of where they stand, should be aware of the ramifications of what's happening. Whether you support Kanu's cause or not, the trial is more than just a legal matter. It's a national issue that will define Nigeria's future in many ways. It's about governance, justice, and the very idea of what it means to be Nigerian. Can the country continue to ignore the demands for greater regional representation? Or will it evolve into a more federated state where each region can have more power over its destiny? This trial might just set the stage for those kinds of discussions. As we approach the judgment date, it's essential to remember that this case is not just about Nnamdi Kanu. It's about the future of Nigeria itself. It's about whether the country can remain united or if it will face further fragmentation as more groups demand their voices be heard. We can only hope that whatever the outcome, it will lead to dialogue, peace, and a future where every region and every group can coexist peacefully and with a sense of justice. That said, remember to like this video and subscribe for more updates as this case progresses. We'll be following this closely and will keep you informed as things unfold. Stay tuned and drop your thoughts below. What do you think will happen? Will Kanu be acquitted or will he face a conviction? How do you see this shaping the future of Biafra and Nigeria? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments.